Well, I just recorded the start of this video only for my microphone not to be working, so that amplifies the pain a little bit more. The Atlanta Hawks are out of the playoffs. They're out of the playoffs. Game 6 against the Milwaukee Bucks at home. They lose by, 10 points, 11 points. A little bit of a strange decision to pull out the players with 40 seconds remaining. I know, it would have been a miracle. But, I mean, you take that chance. Just earlier in the day, Canada played the Czech Republic and scored 10 points in a matter of 50 seconds. I know the Milwaukee Bucks aren't the Czech Republic. No offense to any Czech Republic viewers, but at the same time, you take that chance in the 6th game of the Eastern Conference Finals. I guess at the same time, Bogdanovic is hurt, Trae Young is hurt, all of these guys are hurt, and whatever, Cam Reddish. There's a lot of reasons why it's fair. It was going to be a miracle, but I would have thought you'd play it out just to see what could happen. You never know. At the end of the day, it's over, though. It's over. You can't dwell on the last 40 seconds of a game when there were 47 minutes before where you could have won the game. And so we're not going to really talk about the negatives, although there are some negatives, because at the same time, I've seen people say you shouldn't be disappointed, you shouldn't be sad, you should be happy. You should be proud for sure. Obviously, this team wasn't expected to even make it past the first round against the New York Knicks. They definitely weren't expected to make it past Philadelphia without Cam Reddish or DeAndre Hunter, which never got mentioned, but that's fine. Never got mentioned, but they were missing their two best wing defenders, and Hunter is a consistent form of offense. Turns out Reddish provided that as well in the last couple of games. Actually, since he came back, he was providing offense. They were never expected to beat Philadelphia, and then against the Bucks, no one really gave them a chance. I mean, they got a little bit of a chance, but at the end of the day, they didn't get too much of a chance, particularly after the second game when the Bucks blew them out. The amount of times I saw people saying Bucks in five, it's over now. The Bucks have finally put the foot on the pedal, and they're going to smash them for the rest of the way. They didn't do that. Every single game from that point onwards was 50-50, was in the balance, could have gone either way. That was without Trae Young, that was with Trae Young. It didn't matter. Every one of those games was 50-50, and I'm not saying the Hawks should have won those games by any means, because the Bucks had a chance to win the games that Atlanta won, but at the same time, they could have easily made it to the NBA Finals. Not easily in that sense, but you get what I'm saying. They could have made it to the NBA Finals, so you should be sad and disappointed. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you can obviously be proud of them beating the odds, not once, not twice, even 3 times, because against the Bucks, like I said, after game 2, so many people were saying Bucks in 5. People were saying the Hawks were exposed, you name it. They were all saying those things, and at the end of the day, this was a back and forth series. Giannis or not, Trae was on one leg, Bogdanovic was still injured, Reddish was just coming back, no DeAndre Hunter. Like, the Hawks weren't exactly in prime condition. I know Giannis was missing, and I know Giannis is that guy, and congratulations to Giannis, because we are congratulating the Bucks, because I know Hawks fans probably don't want to hear it, but I am happy for the Bucks, particularly Giannis, because obviously he's someone who's been able to stay in Milwaukee when everyone was saying he should leave, everyone was saying he wasn't going to win there. The Nets, the 76ers, all of these things, the Heat, like, you name it, all of those things popped up. Can Giannis perform in the playoffs? He performed fantastically. He's also hopefully going to come back from an injury and give us a good NBA Finals series, because regardless of the Bucks winning, we still want a good final series. Well, can't speak for all Hawks fans. I'm not a Hawks fan, so it's not quite as serious for me. But at the same time, yeah, I'm disappointed. I wanted to see the Hawks in the finals. I made that very clear from pretty much the first game of the Knicks series. I wasn't thinking that far ahead at the time, but that was the team I wanted to see there. And it's unfortunate for them to get so close and then fall short when, you know, if a few things go differently, they could have easily made it. But at the end of the day, defense, rebounding, like, you're not winning games when you can't stay anywhere near in front of your man, when you can't grab an offensive rebound. The end of the game just encapsulated it all. The end of the game, Jrue Holiday, layup, misses it. 3 Hawks players in there. 3 of them. Holiday grabs a rebound over them, strolls out. That's game over. I mean, that was just one example, but the amount of rebounds, the offensive rebounds from guys like Pat Connaughton, PJ Tucker, slapping it out of Hawks players' hands. Was a questionable few fouls in there where they were just slapping hands, but at the same time, they wanted it more on the boards. Wanted it more, or they were just better on the boards. I don't exactly know. One of the two, maybe 2 of the 2. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because they won the rebounds, and that was the reason. The offensive rebounds don't really suggest that, because they end up with 13, the Hawks. The Bucks end up with 12, but I mean, 7 of them come from Capella, and most of them are because of missed shots where he's putting it back up and then putting it back up and then putting it back up, as opposed to the Bucks offensive rebounds where I counted, I think, 4 this game, and I think 5 or 6 last game where they got an offensive rebound, and it led to a wide open 3-point shot that they made, of course. A wide open 3-point shot that they made, and those are the daggers. Those are the ones where you got Pat Connaughton sitting in the corner and making those shots, and I just don't like Pat Connaughton. I don't really... Pat Connaughton, man, he was annoying. He's a pest. He's just an annoying person. I don't know him as a person, but he was annoying me the whole series long, and this game was absolutely no different. But just talking about some of the positives from the Hawks, Cam Reddish, Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, 6 of 7, 7 of 12, 21 points, even a really nice lead pass. He was one of the only guys that played decent defense, good defense at times, but I mean, he was still getting cooked by Middleton, which isn't exactly his fault. In a one-on-one situation against Chris Middleton, a lot of the times he was getting switched on Trae Young, and then Cam Reddish was trying to come over and help. It wasn't an easy situation to be in by any means, but he played pretty good defense. Bogdanovic was on one leg, and you could see his lateral movement just wasn't there. He was getting blown by a lot. Trae Young as well has never been a good defender at all, but he was struggling as well out there. And then Capella, he wasn't great. Herder, like in general, defensively, it didn't really matter who it was. They weren't fantastic. And then on the flip side, it didn't really matter who it was for the Bucks. They were doing a good job. Brook Lopez was even contesting shots on the perimeter. Jrue Holiday played unbelievable defense. I mean, he was unbelievable defensively. After the first couple of games, the first game after Trae cooked him, he came back and just took it out on every single person. Every single time he got a chance. He ends up with 4 steals and 2 blocks, but that man put the clamps on every single person. John Collins, Bogdanovic, Trae Young, Kevin Herter, Cam Reddish. It literally did not matter. Jrue Holiday played some unbelievable defense, some unbelievable offense. He's another guy. Like, you can't really dislike this Bucks team. Well, I can't really speak for Hawks fans, because I could understand why you would dislike this Bucks team, because they just beat you in an Eastern Conference Finals, and it was a very close series in which you could have won. So I would understand that. And I don't exactly like them after that, but at the same time, like, these are guys that they're hard to root against. You're not exactly going to be like, oh, I hate Jrue Holiday. Oh, I hate Giannis. I hate Chris Middleton. Like, they don't say anything. They just go out there. They just hoop, and then they win games. They're just good players. I mean, yeah, I'm going to take it out on Pat Connaughton because I hate him. If there's one person to hate, just put all your anger on Pat Connaughton. Why? He's just annoying. He's just an annoying guy, because he was grabbing those rebounds. He was slapping hands. You name it. He was doing all of those little ratty, obnoxious things. It was just annoying me. That's all I'm going to say. So I will just say on a negative, Bogdanovic, the last 2.5 games, heading into the second half of this game, he had been their best offensive player. He scored 48 points in the 2 games prior, and then 10 points in the first half. Looked like their best offensive player, their best scorer. He didn't touch the ball on the offensive end of the floor for 6 minutes. In the third quarter, for 6 minutes. He only ends up taking 12 shots after he made 7 threes last game, and he only took 5 this game. It's just not good enough. That's just not good enough. Now, whether Bogey was limping a little bit, whether he wasn't quite as nimble as he was before, I don't exactly know, but at the same time, it's just the fact that he only took that amount of shots, the fact that he just wasn't even incorporated in the offense in the first 6 minutes of the game, and that was the difference. The first 6 minutes of the third quarter, they lose the third quarter by 15 points. That's the difference right there. Couldn't get a touch there, couldn't make a shot, and they weren't running any plays for him. I'm not going to blame that all on Nate McMillan, because I don't think there was timeouts called. I think he was trusting his players to make the right decision, like they have done all playoffs long. I don't think you can always just pin it on Nate McMillan. Oh, he should have run more plays for Bogey. At the same time, it's kind of an in-game decision at the time. You got to decide, are you going to set a screen? Are you going to let Bogey come off a curl? Are you going to let Bogey try to get a shot, try to get in the pick and roll? Are you going to let those things happen as a team? And they didn't let it happen, and that cost them a lot. Because Bogey was, as I said, he ends up with 20 points for the 3rd consecutive game. He was bad before, but he was great the last 3 games, and they didn't really utilize him enough. Even at the end, when he made that shot, like, he was on. He's been on the last 3 games. You got to use him more, because he is a guy that can win you these kind of games, and he's a guy that isn't afraid of making the big shots. We're not going to heap any blame on Trae Young, because he was clearly affected. He was out there on one leg, and when you're his height, and when you need every single advantage you have when it comes to quickness, agility, handling, you name it, just making the right shots at the right angles because guys are a foot taller than you, like a sprained ankle or whatever he had is going to hurt your game a lot. Unfortunately, it hurt him probably more than he would have liked. 4 of 17, 5 turnovers, but they don't come anywhere near this this stage in the playoffs if it isn't for Trae. So the reality is he had an unbelievable playoff run. He was injured. He was on one leg. He was facing elite defense, and that happens. In general, you look across the board. Kevin Huerter, everyone was talking about Cave on this, Cave on that. It's Kev. It's Kev. It's just Kev now. Yeah. I'm sorry, my brother, but you're not my brother anymore. It's just Kev. Just call him Kev. That's it. I don't want to hear any more Cave-ons until next year. Also, lock every single one of these players in the gym until they learn how to rebound. That's the next stage. Get DeAndre Hunter healthy. Get Cam Reddish healthy. Get Bogey healthy. Get healthy. And lock everyone in the gym until they know how to rebound the ball, until they know how to stay in front of their man. Because that was the difference maker in the end. I'll probably make another video on the Hawks just talking about their success in the postseason because it does deserve a lot of credit. I know it seems like I'm being a little bit critical right now, but I think you can still be critical even though they reached further than most people thought. But if you were like us who were rooting for the Hawks the whole time and thought they were a really good team, it wasn't exactly surprising they got this far. So for other people, they're shocked, they're surprised. Oh, good stuff, Hawks. Oh, you did so well. But for us, if we are actually rooting for the Hawks, if we knew what they were capable of, like we did, it's not quite the same, if you know what I mean. But anyways, still obviously a lot to be proud of. Winning that many games, going this far, with injuries, with adversity, as much as any team in the playoffs. It doesn't get mentioned as much because DeAndre Hunter isn't a big name, Cam Reddish isn't a big name yet. Trae Young obviously just got injured recently, Bogdanovic was on one leg, but that was all of the things that happened. So at the end of the day, to make it this far and do this well. Again, I'll make another video at some point, and shout out to the Bucks. I don't dislike the Bucks. Pat Connaughton. That's it.